Good evening students, welcome back. I am making this video for standard 10. Subject is history. Chapter number 1. Name of the chapter is Nationalism in Europe. Now, in the previous video, we had discussed about the introductory part of nationalism in Europe. We have discussed about the introductory part in which the facts about nationalism was discussed, how many European countries they struggled for freedom, how they got the motivation to fight for freedom. All these things we had discussed. We discussed about the Renaissance period and many other important things regarding this chapter we have discussed in the previous part. Now, before proceeding with this second part, I would like to inform all the students of standard 10 that CBSE has reduced the syllabus of social science, not only social science, all the subjects by 30%. So the revised syllabus is available in the school. Now the students, those who want to get the syllabus, can contact the school office. Now let's start with the second part. Now in Europe, the feeling of patriotism was starting to emerge out in the minds of the people. Now, different people of different nations started to follow France. Why? Because the France got its first freedom from autocracy rule and set out an example before Europe. Now, as we had already discussed in part 1, that many of the European countries were under monarchy rule. Now, the names of the countries that we are hearing, practically they were not countries earlier. You might say they were small provinces or small states. They were either small provinces or small states. Okay, such as the state of Austria, Greece, Germany, which was earlier known as Prussia. So all this thing was there in Europe on that time. Now, as I had already written over here, that French Revolution is the turning point. So the French Revolution became the turning point of nationalism in Europe. How the French people, the European people, the European citizens, they got convinced, they got motivated by the French Revolution. That how the people of France, they threw away the monarchy rule of Louis XVI and they got freedom from him. So that was the turning point. And also the people, they were motivated by Napoleon. Napoleon, who became one of the biggest conquerors of Europe. If we speak truly, Napoleon, in his rule, when he was in power, he almost annexed a major part in Europe. A major part of Europe was under Napoleon's control. Now Napoleon, he was not only a conqueror, but also he was a person of a good discipline, and he was a person who could create some values. This person, Napoleon, was very far-sighted person. He had a very great vision. So the things that he done, the good work that he done in his rule, has set up many different convenience for various traders and in Europe. Now Napoleon did some great job. He did some great work, which was beneficial to the traders as well as the sailors. Now in which way, we will discuss a little later. Now, in the beginning of Napoleon's rule, what Napoleon did, after the defeat of Louis XVI, Napoleon took the control of France in his own hands. Though France had got relieved from monarchy rule after Louis XVI, but Napoleon, he reintroduced. What he did? He reintroduced. That is very important. He reintroduced the monarchy rule again in France. Brought back monarchy rule in France. So he again reintroduced the monarchy rule in France. And what he did? But the control was in his own hands. He supported the monarchy rule. He wanted that the monarchy should remain in France. But with the re-establishment of monarchy rule, Napoleon started to conquer different parts of Europe. Now this propaganda of expansion, this mindset of expansion, this expansionism theory to control entire Europe, he has earned many enemies. Enemies mainly like Prussia, Britain, all these, these are the countries who became Napoleon's, and many others were there who became Napoleon's enemy. But Napoleon had a very strong army with him, which helped him to conquer a large part of Europe, to annex a large part of Europe. But after conquering Europe with his political strategies, we will discuss the political strategies of Napoleon in the next video. We will discuss about this political strategy in which he had combined all the state. He was a support of centralized governance. First, he believed in central ruling. That means he followed the policy of centralized governance. So this way he introduced his ruling. He believed in modern concept of ruling. Now the major thing that he did, that is, he introduced a civil code, which is in history, which is famous, very famous and known as the Civil Code of 1804 of Napoleon. He introduced a civil code in which what he has mentioned in his civil code, he was in a support of equality of person before law. He believed that all persons are equal before law. Napoleon believed that all persons were equal before law. He had gave right to property. He introduced all these rights, right to property. And one of the major things that Napoleon did, which helped to remove the barriers of trade in foreign trade, that is uniform measures of weights and exchange of currency. Uniform measures of weights. Now, earlier in Europe, what used to happen was that different countries used to follow different units of weight. Okay. For example, some used to deal in kilograms, some used to deal in pounds, some used to deal in some other units of weight. So these are the sum of this weight, the units that the different European countries used to deal on various commodities. So this created a confusion at the time of trade. Napoleon was the person who removed these barriers of trade. So what he removed? He removed barriers of trade. How he has removed the barriers of trade? He has introduced the uniform measures of weights. Now, after the introduction of uniform measures of weight, what had happened? That all the confusion, all the barriers were all removed, and the trade could be done in a convenient way. So it was very convenient, it was very helpful for the traders to carry out trade with this uniform measure. More than that, what he did, he introduced currency, and that had some exchange value. He introduced currency through which the trade become very convenient, trade become very easy to exchange. What we accept as currency? Currency is an instrument that could be used as a medium of exchange, that could be acceptable as a medium of exchange. That is what we term as currency. So Napoleon did that only. He introduced the currency system through which there could follow a stable exchange. The exchange could be. So these were the things that Napoleon had introduced in his civil code, the civil code of 1804. Napoleon was a very great ruler. He had followed very modern ways. He set up examples before the world that how to live with the modern world, how to change the way of ruling. But his expansionism theory became a headache for others, became a matter to be worried for others, especially for the country like England. England was very worried with the expansionism theory of Napoleon, and England with many other nations, they tried to defeat, they planned to defeat Napoleon in the Battle of Waterloo. Okay, so these were the things of Napoleon. Now, one more thing to say about Napoleon was that he believed in centralized ruling. Now, Napoleon had conquered different nations of Europe, but he would hold such a power that he could control all the nations that he has conquered, all the parts, all the provinces that he had conquered. So he introduced those things. So these were some of the important factors, these are some of the important points about Napoleon, that how Napoleon had introduced all these things, this civil code of 1804, which is very important, how he had brought back the monarchy rule in France, though it was for a short period of time, but still he brought back the monarchy rule in France. So all these were from this part 2. I will come back with third part of this video very soon. Till then, stay home, stay safe.